Hey guys, I'm so happy that we have been able to put together a video on generating PDFs from AppSmith. We've received this request a lot of times and I'm so happy we are finally doing it right now. And it makes sense because AppSmith actually allows you to pull in data from various sources, so why not also have a way to export this out into a downloadable form? And this video is going to cover how to generate PDFs. And you might also want to email stuffs like receipts or tickets to your customers from within your AppSmith dashboard. That will all be possible by the end of today's video. So we're going to take a look at these three key areas. The first is setting up a template using APItemplate.io. We're going to be using APItemplate.io to generate these PDFs. It's a really awesome tool and you should go check it out. Next, I'll show you how to send data from your AppSmith application to generate PDFs in APItemplate.io. And lastly, as a bonus, I'll show you how to send out these generated PDFs as emails to customers, for example. My name is Confident and I'm a developer advocate at AppSmith. Without any delay, let's get started. So right here, I have a starter application. This is an application that actually pulls in data from various sources. So I can show you how this works. I have a get users query, which is a Postgres query to get a couple of users from the database. And each user has a location information. A user has a latitude and also a longitude. And then what I'm doing is getting the location information by using the Google Maps API for each user that has been gotten from the database. So I'm combining that information together by writing some JavaScript. I have this get location function right here, which actually merges the data from the database and also the location information that has been decoded using the Google Map API, and we'll have all of that data saved into the AppSmith store. So that data is displayed on the table, and here we have the complete information from two various sources being joined together. So the question is, how do we generate a PDF using this data? The answer is using APItemplates.io. So go to visit APItemplate.io and sign up if you do not already have an account. And once you are there in your dashboard, what you need to do is go create a template. So let's head over to create a template in APItemplate.io. Here I have a template I created a couple of days ago. So let's go ahead to create a new PDF template. The way this works is that you create a template and then you post data to that template, and APItemplate.io takes that data to hydrate the template, and then that generates a PDF. So you're going to see how all of this comes together as we go ahead with building this application. So I'm going to set the default HTML template and let's create a template. All right, we have a template created. I'm going to launch the editor so that we can go take a look at what a template is. And as you can see, a template is just HTML. This is just HTML. And in fact, this is HTML that allows you to write some custom logic with Python. I believe this is called Jinja. As you can see, this is called Jinja. It's a templating system very similar to Handlebars if you've used Handlebars with JavaScript before. So this allows you to write bindings to pull in data from various sources, just like you have in AppSmith. So to test this out, in the template editor, we actually have some sample data here. We have an object that has a document ID, a header title, and all of this information. And more importantly, we have an items field that has the data used to generate the template. So I can clear this out so that we can focus on just one piece of it. So I'm just going to delete some extra template code from the screen. All right, so let's click on quick preview. And you can see that what we have here is that we actually have a looping logic using Python. We have a looping logic here using Python to pick out some information from the JSON data, the dummy JSON here, and that is what gets displayed in the template. So you can actually do something like this. Remember, in the JSON data, we have a header title field in the object. So we can go do something like this, for example. Let's also delete this out. So we can do something like, instead of having a static header, we can write some double curly braces like in AppSmith and do header title. So I can click on quick preview. and you can see that it's saying this is a dynamic header because the header is actually being pulled from the JSON data that is used to hydrate the templates. So that's how basically API template works. You create a template and then you post data to that template and it generates a PDF using the posted data. But because we are able to write Python, you actually do not need to have separate templates for all of the PDFs you are generating. So I have a sample Python code here. Probably I'll also leave it in the description just in case you want to copy this out. And this Python code dynamically generates the templates from Python dynamically. So here it's going to dynamically generate the table header. Instead of having static headers like we had in the previous template, we're actually dynamically generating the table headers using Python. Then we're also doing the same for the body using Python. So I can have this one template set up and use it for all of the PDF generation needs that I may have. So this is done. Now I can save this, all right, and this has been saved. And now I can go ahead to connect this to the AppSmith application. To do that, there's a resource tab right here. And what I want to show you is the API documentation. So you have the V2 API. I'm just going to open this up. And here we have the API documentation. This is the route to create PDFs. And let's go copy the curl command so that we can import it into the AppSmith app. So I'm going to copy this over and let's head back to AppSmith. All right, I'm going to create a new data source. All right, I shall actually be creating a new query so that I can import this using curl. All right, so I'm going to paste this in and click on import. And there we go. So I'm going to call this generate PDF. That'll be the name of this API call. I will need to update this a bit because the API keys are not the right API keys. This is the static API key from the doc. So I'll need to come paste in my API key right here. And I also need to update the template ID, which will be the template that will be used for the PDF generation whenever this call is made. So let's head back to the template editor. I'm just going to quit this. And here I can quickly grab the template ID. All right, so let's head back, paste it right here. And this looks good. So remember from the demo data we had while playing with the templates and also while configuring the templates, we need to pass in two things from the template we have configured. We need to pass in a header title, which would be the header that is shown here on the template. Then we also need to pass in an items key that would contain an array of data we want rendered in the template, which will be the table rendered in the template. So those are the two things we need to pass across, and we can do that in the body here. So in the body, all right, this is going to have the header title, and we can call this user report. And lastly, we also want to have a key called items that would have the table information. So this is items, and this is going to have an array of data. But for the items here, we actually want to generate a PDF report based on the table we are seeing right here in AppSmith. And what we are actually doing here from the JavaScript file is that we are saving this to the store. So we can easily reference the data saved in the store whenever we go to generate the PDF using the generate PDF API. And as we're here, I also like to quickly mention that we actually launched a new feature that makes it possible for you to call JavaScript on page load. This is it. You can run JavaScript functions on page load right now, and it's so amazing. You should go try it out. All right, so let's head back to the generate PDF API call. For the body, this will be coming from appsmith.store.users. And you can see we have a bunch of users saved in the store, and we're actually done configuring the generate PDF call. Now we need some UI to trigger the PDF generation, and in fact it's going to be a good idea to preview this PDF right inside AppSmith. So let's create a modal to do all of this. So I have a modal here. I'm just going to bring in a modal, and let's configure this a bit. I'm going to bring these buttons to the bottom of the modal. So let's move them here, and let's bring in a PDF viewer widget, actually a document viewer widget, to display the PDF generated. Okay, so this looks good so far. We'll come back to finish up on configuring this. All right, that looks good. So now we need a button to trigger opening up the modal. So I'm just going to bring up a button and drop it right here. And I'm going to call this button generate report. All right, that looks good. So set button style to secondary. Whenever this button is clicked on, we want to do two things. First, we want to execute the generate PDF query or the generate PDF API call. And then when that's done, we can go open up the modal and preview the generated PDF. So let's do that by using the UI here. So when this is clicked on, we want to execute the generate PDF API call. And when this is successful, we want to open up the modal, and that is modal 1. So I can click on this, and that's going to generate the PDF and open up the modal. But right now, we don't have the PDF report showing up right here. So let's actually display it in the document viewer. And that data is going to be coming from get generate pdf.data.download URL. And you can see that that report is visible here. These are all the keys or all the columns we have from the user table. Now we have a report being generated using that data. And you can see that we have the user report header, which is what we specified when configuring the generate PDF query. All right, now that this is done, this looks good because we can actually print this. We can print this from right here, and we can actually go on to download this to our local computer. So this is a really good flow, and I think I should call this the PDF report. All right, now that's really cool. The last thing I promised I'll be showing you as a bonus is how to send these reports as emails. You may want to do this, for example, sending out generated PDFs to clients, which could be ticket information or receipts. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So to do that, you actually need to use the SMTP integration on AppSmith. And we made a video a while back on using this. So I'm going to leave a link to the video right to the top corner over here so that you can go check it out. But let's quickly go over setting that up. So I'm going to create a new data source, and this would be the SMTP integration I'll be making use of. So let's call this email. All right. So for the host, I'm going to be using my Gmail account. You can also use this with email servers that you may have configured using Twilio or using Postmark or whatever email service you use. I'm going to be configuring this using Gmail. So for the port, this is going to be 587. All right. For the username, this is my email address, and I'm also going to paste in my password, and I can test this, and this looks good, so I can go ahead to save this. All right. So let's create a query that goes to actually send the PDF reports out as emails. So this is going to be using the email integration we just configured, and I'm going to call this send report. All right, this is going to be a send email command, and I also need to add my from email address here, which is the email address I use for setting this up. For the two emails, I'm going to have my email address added here statically. So this is going to be .com. All right, you could make this dynamic by creating a form UI, but I do not want us to do that in this video to keep the video short. Last thing here is the body, and this can be pulled from get generate pdf.data.download URL. So we can say view your report here, for example, and there we are appending the URL to view. All right, so this looks good. And last thing I'm going to do here is head back to the modal. And what I want to do is configure the modal in such a way that whenever the button is clicked on, we can actually go in to call the send email or the send report query. So here we have the modal. I'm just going to open this up, and whenever the confirm button is clicked on, I'm just going to call this send. So when the button is clicked on, we would go to send out the email by calling the send report query. And when this is successful, we can actually close up the modal. So I'm going to close modal. And what I want to do here is close modal 1. So let's send this out. So I'm going to click on the send button, and this should send an email to my email address. So let's go check it out. mail.google.com. All right. And here I have my reports shown up. So I can actually click on this and be able to access the same report that we have generated. So this is how easy it is to generate PDFs from AppSmith using AppSmith and API-template.io. I hope you found this helpful. Now, you may be wondering how to use the SMTP integration. Like I said, we made a video, so I'm just going to leave it here so that you can go check out the video on how to use the SMTP integration to send out emails. Or you may be interested in learning more on writing JavaScript to manipulate widgets and pulling data or stitch data together like we did in the video. So I'm going to leave a link to a video here so that you can go check out how to write JavaScript in AppSmith. Alright, that'll be all for today's tutorial. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, leave a like, get subscribed, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Alright, take care. Bye bye.